Now we're on.
There we are.
It's like, wait. Hello. Hi, welcome to Curious Endeavourances. Oh my god, Curious Endeavourances Book Club, where we read anything and everything. For those of you who haven't seen us before, we are a book club on Goodreads, where we manage all of our stuff. We pick a book, we read the book, we occasionally review the book, and we get together at the end of every month to discuss the book. I will be posting all the links below for all of our individual stuff, and also the Goodreads page if you want to go check out what we're reading, what we have read, or if you would like to join or comment. And if you have joined, thank you. Welcome to the club. So first, I'll just quickly introduce the peoples. We have Ashley Newell.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley. I've got 2 books out. I realized that we haven't really done any self-promotion, so shameless promotion, since it's been over a year since we used to cart our books across the screen. Yeah, this once is not my pick, so I will take none of the blame. Not necessarily that all the books we pick are terrible, but I always start mine with defensively, I apologize for this book, but I don't have to say that this time. So I said that about Wicked and all the other ones, and they're not even bad. I just start with, so we can blame me for this one. This one is not mine.
Oh my goodness.
And there's a football party going on behind Caitlin.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm in a crowded room because I do not have internet. I have moved across the world, so things happen. Julianne Wilson.
Hi. Oh, there's no keeper.
I think it's going to be better with this if we just start responding to the offhand comments because they're happening behind you.
Yeah, it's putting my noise canceling microphone to the test. I'm Caitlin Perry. This month is my pick, and I do not apologize for it at all. This month was The Darkest Night. Okay, I'm really sorry, guys. It was The Darkest Night by Gena Showalter, which Ashley has there. It was the first in a series about demons and gods. I will start off by saying that I had not read this book. I read the second book in the series, which I'm now not sure if I loved so much because of the character it's about. But I enjoyed it a lot. But this book, not as much. I won't go first.
I was going to say, the fact that it was about death probably its value for it.
Well, death has such a greater depth of character, for starters. I do have comments about, okay, I'll just say, the reason why the second one is better, aside from death, is it deals more with the overarch, it's still an individual romance of its own accord, because that's what all the books are. They deal with each different demon guy and his romance story. That's the genre. But it delves much deeper into the whole Pandora stuff, the stuff about the temples that was mentioned at the end, the Titans, and all that. It's a lot more, important. Whereas this book was much more of a contained. It's just them. We'll kind of talk about that other stuff, and you'll meet some of those other guys. But this one was just so tightly contained around them.
Can I read the back?
Yes, you can read the back. I'm sorry, I just had to defend why I picked the series, because I really liked the second one.
Hey, we're picking anything and everything, and I mean, cover alone, why wouldn't you pick it? Half the things I pick are based on cover. Anyway. His powers, inhuman. His passion, beyond immortal. All her life, Ashlyn Darrow has been tormented by voices from the past. To end the nightmare, she has come to Budapest seeking help from men rumored to have supernatural abilities, not knowing she'll be swept into the arms of Maddox, their most dangerous member, a man trapped in a hell of his own. Neither can resist the instant hunger that calms their torments and ignites an irresistible passion. But every heated touch and burning kiss will edge them closer to destruction and a soul-shattering test of love. Why wouldn't you pick that?
I know, right? And again, having read the second book, because they are chronological, I was like, okay, I need to know about this curse, more about this stuff and this girl, like, that they talk about, and because of course they reference, okay, I don't feel bad spoiling now that you've both finished, because they reference it, like, it's about Lucian, whose death. It's like, oh yeah, the curse. I was like, what curse? I want to know about this curse. What's going on? But it's okay because it's gone now. And I'm like, but I don't know. No, sorry, Lucian. I don't care how completely hideous you are. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's the scars. Okay. What did you guys think? Who wants to go first?
Okay, fine. I had fun reading it, but I don't think in the way I was intended to have fun reading it. Like, the idea behind it, taking inspiration from ancient Greek myths and putting these spins on it to make it more of this demonic possession and all that, and the myth of Pandora's box and how all the evils spread across. Like, I like the premise. The premise was really interesting to me. I don't think it was executed as well, and some of it is so just cheesy, but I didn't have trouble reading it. I just think I was laughing in places I probably was not meant to be laughing in. A lot of head shaking for me in this one.
Okay, Julianne.
There were parts I enjoyed. I agree, Ashley. I think I was probably laughing at stuff that I wasn't supposed to be laughing at. And the parts where you're supposed to be like, oh, Milt, I was kind of the, oh, really? Yeah, I know. But, it had its good points. It had its bad points. I actually struggled a lot at the beginning. I'm not sure that helped.
What? Sorry?
I'm not sure that helped with quieting it down.
Well, when I hit mute, it won't mute.
Oh.
Like, I've been hitting mute, and it's still...
There's 4 classes.
That one worked.
Okay, anyways. I struggled with the beginning because of the lack of early character development, I think it was. It's just that you meet these characters, you've got nothing to go on, and all of a sudden they're like madly obsessed with each other, and it didn't work for me. And apparently I'm not the only one. But
I feel weird about it because I'm not like an avid romance reader, so there's a part of me that's like, I don't know how much I'm just supposed to go with because I'm reading the genre, and how much I'm supposed to have standards about.
Well, and for that reason, I think that's the other thing too, is like when you said that in your review or to me or something, I can't remember, it made me realize something, which because I read this stuff a lot because of I follow the Bachelor Fantasy Book Club, and what this reminds me of is one of the last books they read recently. It was supposedly terrible. Like, a lot of them were like, "Oh my God, this is awful." But then Kyla said the same thing about how I felt when I read it, and again, reading this is like, I got into it, I realized what kind of book it was, and then I just enjoyed it for what it was. Like, if I were to put this, like, our book that we read, in the line of all the books I'd ever read, it doesn't match up with certain genres, and I think because I do read a lot, and I know Julianne reads some of this stuff, but I've read a lot of it in the last couple of years, so I think when I line it up, I'm like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. I've read some really awful stuff in the last 6 months, guys. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. So, like, in this genre, like, it can get really bad. I know it wasn't great, and there was a lot of, like, oh, I happened to stumble upon the one demon god who can make the voices go away. For some reason, that we will not explain.
And I'll just throw myself at him.
And that I don't think it's the idea that happened. It's just how spontaneous in that moment. It's like, and all of a sudden, I knew right then I had to give myself to this person. It's like Paris made sense because he was the demon of instantly just having. So that one was explained. That was explained that women could just throw themselves at him with no real like conscious understanding that they were doing so. But this was just like, okay. A lot's just happened in this
that
last
happens
half
a
hour.
lot. That happens a lot in these genres. This one was really exaggerated. I will tell you that does not happen so much in the second book. I don't want to spoil it, but the attraction starts. It's really, I don't want to spoil anything. Not just for you guys, but in case anyone's
A little
watching.
bit more realistic.
I'd say it's more realistic, but also because it's about death, and then the person that the love interest is attracted to him before the book starts, and the attraction is more out of curiosity than anything. Like at first, it's like, what? Like this guy makes no sense to me. I want to get to like know him better, and so her way of doing that is to throw herself at him, but she doesn't actually throw herself at him.
See, the Danica Reyes one kind of worked because they're like, okay, I may be attracted to this person, but I'm too pissed off about the circumstances that we're not going to go there. So
I think that's why it gets better in the series because I think that's the third book. So I think with the
because it was set up, and it's like, okay, we're going to be building to something rather than instantaneously, I want you inside of me, mysterious stranger I've just met.
I do hope
like I think Gena Showalter pulled it off better.
But I think that's the problem with this first book is that it's again it's not as terrible as some other stuff I read, which is why I gave it what I gave it. Like for me, it was a pretty mid-range in the array of stuff that I have read, and then also comparing it to the other book I've read in this series that I know is much better. But it does have that. It's so instant. It's such got that cliche about it. The instant, to quote,
"You're in a public place." I'm noticing you trying to censor your vocabulary. Like, what can I get away with in mixed company?
Fine. No. I'm trying to think. I'm going to quote the first episode of Vaginal Fantasy. I see you across the room and my loins exploded with desire. It's
Which again can happen, but the idea of like for Danica and Reyes, it was like we're gonna think this, but we're not going to be like, I'm just going to touch you a little longer as I just kind of lean into you and hang on to you and never let go. So, I'm not going to explain myself, I'm just clutching.
I know, Maddox is just like, okay. It's like, I really need to get back. Like, really soon. Can we, like, do I need to kill you?
I think the big problem is that Ashlyn isn't developed as a character. The dudes are fine. It's Ashlyn that's just like, what the hell is wrong with you?
That was a major problem for me, is her lack of development. It was very,
she was just there to be horny, but vulnerable. I'm the poor. Oh, I loved that we had that virgin moment. Oh, but she's a virgin. I've never been with anyone, and my life has been building up to this, and I want to be touched so badly. I gave him kudos for being like, oh crap, virgin territory, back it off now.
Because she didn't even tell him. So kudos to him to be like,
she did seem to just assume that he would like know. I mean, as much as she didn't want to scare him about it, just this idea of but no one ever understands me and no one gets me and I've been alone for so long and you're the first person that I've wanted to jump.
You need to tell, guys. I mean, I assume you need. You need to tell.
Especially when they decide to imprison you, and that was. See,
I
I
was like,
get the
Lucian, Lucian.
premise, but I still get that little feminist spark that said, really, we have to get with the biggest, strongest, most potentially abusive one, and that's the one where, like, yes, he's just murdered a bunch of people, and he could, like, kill me at any moment. This is the one I want. It's like, oh, here we go again.
And he's the one with the demon that's like constantly like about to explode, right? Like the other guys was like.
And this was
Aaron
before
is a different issue because he's got that Titan curse on him or whatever.
I felt better about it when Maddox and Violence were like on the same page. They're just like, yeah, we just want like rough, passionate lovemaking. And I'm like, okay, at least we're not in a we want to rip her throat out, which is where we were at for like the first third. So I feel better about this now that they're like, yeah, let's just give it to her hard, as opposed to let's murder her, which is where she was like, take me, I don't care if you hurt me, and he's like, no, I could kill you.
I gotta say, if it were me, I mean, okay, I don't have those voices, but I mean, I don't care if a guy silences him if he's basically like covered in blood. It's like, I killed the people you brought with you, or whatever it was he said.
And I'm
like,
still in prison.
I need to kill you. I need to imprison you. You're bait. I'd be like, how do I get out of here now?
Psychopath. And for the first time in my life, I can think clearly. So what's preventing me from evaluating this as psychopath?
And then his friend would murder him in front of you.
Yeah. Which like, I get her reaction of, what are you doing? But
I'd be like, I need to get out of here now. And then my favorite was like, she's like, your brother's dead. Like, I would think I had gone insane at that point. I would not think, oh, this must be his brother. Like, if the guy who you saw murdered shows up at your prison cell, I'd be like,
he clearly has a twin.
Like, they've killed your brother. And he's like, I don't have a brother. I'd be like, no, you're insane. I would think I was insane.
Which, for someone who's been insane since, like, infancy, you think that wouldn't be too much of a... Like, oh, great! My voices turned into hallucinations. Yay! And the voices, like you said, they were never really explained. It's just, I've had this my whole life, and they were using... And that's the most obscure thing ever. Conversations, just any conversation lingered in the air. It's not, like, linked to death or trauma, which is how most things, like...
What I've heard, the similar thing I've read in books, which I thought was really cool, was when Tamora Pierce had a character who could hear it in, like, dust swirls. Like, there would be, like, dust swirls would, like, stay in certain areas, and they were capture voices. So she had a power. It's a completely magical world, right? A lot of people have magic powers. Like, it's not like Ashlyn, who's like, I get that there's demons and gods, but it's just so weird that she's like the only person who has some sort of magical power in the entire world. Like, so in this one, the character would go stand in the dust, the spinners, I think she calls them, and they would get smaller because they would dump the voices on her. And then they would, when they got bigger, she'd know they have more voices. So it was conversations that would have to happen, like in the winds in the area. So the wind catches the voices.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because you said this author does write other series about other supernatural type pairings. So when Ashlyn's talking about the institution, is this institution a common thread? I don't know how many of the other ones you've read or
I have no idea.
Because it just seemed like a lot of blatant name dropping of, and then we dealt with these vampires and these, like, whatever, and she's listing them. Like, is this shameless promotion?
No,
what's happening here?
The other books, I think, are actually separate. Like, there's one where it's aliens, and the main character is an alien hunter. Like, it's not the typical stuff. Like, it's not vampires and werewolves and stuff. It's the city of Atlantis. So, I mean, the Institute might intertwined with them, but it wasn't the stuff that was mentioned, like your everyday basic
It just seemed like a very
monsters.
blatant like name drop of we've dealt with this and this and this. So perfectly makes sense that they would be these demonic angel things.
Yeah, and yeah. No,
It's like,
I mean that would make
okay.
sense, but as far as I know, based on what I know of her other series, at least what they're about, like I haven't read them, so I don't know for sure, but it's not what was listed.
I was just curious.
Well, like one of them is an Alice in Wonderland based one, so I don't think so. Unless they take someone like Ashlyn and drop them in Zombieland. Unless they drop them in Zombieland. I don't know. Yeah, for me, Ashlyn was a difficult character because it just made no sense. Like
She was purely there as a sexual object. That was it. She was just a tool in which to get Maddox off.
And it was, and she felt kind of like this weird tool to bring the hunters in, because the hunters are really prominent. Like you know more about them in the next book, like probably the rest of the series. Whereas in this one, they're only like they're extinct, they can't be back, and then you find out they're part of the institution.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Ashlyn was the tie-in.
Well, that's the whole thing. They accused her as being bait throughout, and then finally at the end, like, oh my god, I was bait. Yes.
Like, fun fact, saw that coming 1,000 miles away.
I know, you're like, because you're kind of like, oh, the doctor he's like such a good guy. Like, he's probably not.
I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't like more development between her and this person. Like, it's summarized as I was the one to take you in when your family didn't want you and all that stuff, but there wasn't ever, like, at the beginning when he's just kind of name dropped and like, oh, I have to, pay. I don't even remember the dude's name, but Macintosh, isn't that right? Macintosh?
Sounds right.
Yeah, it's something like that.
I haven't read it in a while. I'm like,
it's like Macintosh. Anyway, that dude. So it sounds like maybe potential lover or something like that, just because it's she's so concerned with pleasing him and how everyone's relying on her and all that. And then later on you get that, it's more of like a father figure type thing. But I don't know. When she feels all betrayed, just because we didn't spend a lot of time with it because we were ogling over Maddox the whole time, it just wasn't like, oh, how could you? It's like, sketchy institution, left you all by yourself, didn't really get a big shock to the system.
But I think that was the problem with the whole Ashlyn thing. Nothing about her was properly developed. So if there had been time at the beginning devoted to just how crazy the voices drove her, then it would make more sense that she was like, oh my god, I'm never leaving the side of the person who suddenly actually brings silence. But we don't get that picture. We don't actually get to see just how crazy it drives her. We just get, a couple words thrown in here. Oh my god, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And question for continuity. So she didn't hear any of the conversations that were happening among the brother, or not the brother, but the initial lords, right? Even when Maddox died, she didn't hear their conversation. She could hear the other past conversations, but not them. But she could hear the conversations of the other batch of lords that rejoined them.
Oh, really?
Could she?
I didn't catch that.
I know she heard the women's side of the conversation.
Yeah,
but not
she
never.
But what I swore there was a moment where she was hearing the other dudes, and I was like, wait, why are they exempt from the exemption? Maybe I'm making this up, but I swore that there was a moment there, and it threw me off, and I'm like, what is happening?
Was it maybe when she heard Macintosh and the other hunter that had broken in, but
yeah, when he has broken in and is questioning them.
And she thought it was them, but it wasn't them?
Maybe. I think I stopped stickying when I got to that part. So I don't see where it was. But there was a moment of WTF in my mind. I remember that moment of WTF.
You remember that specific one, and not the other ones? You had to flag the other ones.
I think my last flags are around the bathroom scene. I don't know how many other.
I'm
Oh no,
going to.
no, my last sticky was when they announced that they had a dude named Strider, and I was like, you've gotta be very, very cautious when you decide to throw a name like that out, because there is just a very specific connotation that goes with a guy named Strider. You gotta live up to it.
Big O Mortensen.
Yeah. So that was my last sticky, was Strider, apparently.
I had so I was going to post questions, and then I forgot to do it, and then I forgot my questions, so I remembered one of them. Ashley kind of answered one, and it was, if you were to breed one of any of this, like, was there any one lord, and I'm guessing with Ashley it was Reese, that you would want to read about?
That you'd want to what?
That you would want to read the novel of?
Ah.
I don't think mine would specifically be Reyes. I just thought it was better paced for development than the Ashland Maddox.
Well, more stuff's happening between now and then because this isn't the next book.
Yeah.
There's going to be more.
I liked was it Torben?
Torin, the disease.
Yeah, that was
Torin. Yeah, because he was so different in his isolation that he'd be like more traumatized. Wouldn't be able to get that emotional. Yeah, and so, and from the beginning, because he's the first Lord that you meet, like with Maddox, and he just seems like Paris is too. I think too cliche in that you wouldn't even have to be able to read that book to.
But I don't know if they mentioned this as much. It was more emphasized in the second book because
there's more to Paris than this. Okay, bring it. Let me redeem Paris for me.
I can totally. If you read the second book, so if you noticed in this one, they occasionally focused on Aaron a lot too. And sometimes like there were other people, but Aaron for some reason seemed to be that. So in the next book, it focuses on Lucian, but every once in a while you get a bit of stuff that Paris is doing. So you get a bit more understanding of him, and also like, with him it's like, oh yeah, lots of women, but it goes into detail of how like if he doesn't get a woman, how he just.
Yeah, they mentioned that here. He pretty much goes into the same torment that Maddox goes through, and just like,
Like it gets ugly, and like he talks about some of the stuff he's had to do that he doesn't want to do, but the demon has made him do. I'm not saying assault, but he's not gay, but he might have had to do it to get, or he would have all but died.
So it's better than the loafer that's sitting around watching porn all day.
Yeah, that's what he seems like, but that's when things are good, when things aren't good, because I think in the second one, things get kind of not so good for a while.
Aaron's the self-inflicting pain dude?
No, it's Reyes. Aaron is pain? Yeah, Aaron is anger.
No, he was Wrath.
Wrath, yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, he hunts people down and seeks justice for them and all that.
Yeah. So yeah,
that would be an interesting one too.
Well, especially because right now he's all locked up because he's been ordered to kill Danica and her family.
You know which one I think would be really funny to read, actually? I don't remember which one. I don't remember his name, but the one who was, I think, Disaster. So every time he would fall in
the ceiling fell, and they're just like, every time you walk in the room.
Like, no one wants to go with him. They're like, you go do stuff. You go, well, like, I don't want him to help me up the mountain. I'm already injured enough, thank you.
That would be an interesting one. See, the concept-wise, the premise of these characters and the situation is like amazing. I thought, as I was getting to know the situation more, that I would really love it. I just, they don't follow through on things well.
But I think that's why I liked the second one, is because you get more of the like it's still got the romance, and it's
But
You
if
know,
it
it
is
is what it is.
built in the characters a bit more, that would be good.
Well, because you do get to know some of the characters more, and you get, I mean,
Well,
obviously, as you would have to if for a series to go along, if you have the same
and
set of
Which I think
characters.
is good, because if you had more of them and less of Ashlyn, I think it would be saved.
well, either that though, or if Ashlyn had actually been around character.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
So if in the second one there was still a lot with the, love
The,
interest, but she actually had a brain.
Well, especially
the
with
love
how they were.
interest, so,
Go
so
for
the
it.
love interest in the second one is not a character I like. Like, if I met her in real, if I met her in real life, oh my god.
I feel like you told me that before.
I did tell you. But her contrasted with death is just, I don't know. I think it's, she was kind of annoying, but it was a round character annoying.
Okay.
Like Donna? Is she a Donna?
Yeah! Oh my god, she's totally a Donna!
Oh my goodness, I'm excited! How could you not love Donna?
But she's not. I don't want to tell you, even though it like tells you in the first pages, because I don't want to spoil it.
Nah, go ahead.
Do you want the spoiler? You want the spoiler? You want the
It
spoiler?
happens in the first few pages, yeah.
Everyone else
so.
that's watching, cover
Spoilers.
your ears the next 15 seconds or so.
Okay, what I'm going to do is, when I take my hands down, this is what Felicia does. When I take my hands down, the spoilers are over. So spoilers. Love interest for death is, I can't remember if her name gets mentioned in the first book, but it is the mysterious apparition who helps them with the curse.
Is it that one at the end of
Yeah.
this book?
Yeah.
She was annoying as hell.
I told you she's annoying. I told you she's annoying.
She popped out of nowhere, and I'm like, really? This is our saving thing? Oh, she was annoying as hell. No! Oh! I mean, she has to be built upon, because otherwise that would make the end of this totally stupid. But
there's a reason she's annoying. There's a reason she's annoying.
That actually, and this is going to sound hilarious, I feel like even just in the little bit of time that we heard her, we didn't even see her. Well, we did briefly, I think, but just in that little teeny bit of time that we hear from her, I got more character building for her than I did for Ashlyn in the entire book.
But that's my point, is that she's so annoying. But but as I said, she's a round character. And her contrasted with Lucian is hilarious. Like, because when you get his description in the book, in this one, right? Like, he's so, like, control.
Mhm.
And there's a reason for that. So, like, it's, okay, yeah. I know, so annoying. Yeah.
I hated that part. That's why my sticky stopped. I just got so frustrated with things. I'm like, who the hell is this person? Why is she annoying?
But it gets explained.
I'm entertained, though, that there's more time building up her character than Ashlyn.
And she's got a full backstory and everything.
See,
Well,
that would
technically, Ashlyn had a backstory, just wasn't
No.
a very good one.
She's got a more expansive backstory and more rounded character with a more rounded role in the next.
that was something, and we've already kind of said this, I think, probably a couple times now, but this one thing that really frustrated me is that because the premise is so good, I really, really wish that Ashlyn had been properly developed and that the relationship between her and Maddox had been properly developed and not quite so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cliche romance novel.
And also, I almost want to throw in, it doesn't quite fit, but just because you're in Stockholm, I almost want to throw in the Stockholm Syndrome reference.
Oh my god, right?
You're like, that's really not who you should be falling for in theory. He's like barking woman at you constantly and locking you up. Yeah,
No, it was a weird attraction. It was really weird. Like, I get he made the voices go quiet, but apparently they all do. So
I know, right?
It wasn't specifically him.
Well, actually, and the best part is you get to the end and she's like, oh, I can control it myself.
I know, right? So really, it's like, so flee. Go.
And even then, so it's just like, so basically that...
She was just sexually frustrated. That's pretty much it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She really was.
Watch too much Beauty and the Beast and some of Paris's choice literature. That was, oh my, promoting the romance novel genre much? Why don't we read it together? Would you like me to read it with you? What
I
the hell
love,
has just happened?
I love that he reads romance novels. I mean, yeah.
So, question.
Yep.
Are the
Yep.
Titans decently developed, or are they catastrophically developed?
You know,
Because I have a lot of problems with some of the use of mythology.
okay, so I have two responses to that. I have two things to say, other than the fact that I'm tweeting right now. So, okay. One, I have a knowledge base. It is nowhere near as extensive as yours, so I don't know if I would notice as many problems. So I don't know what to tell you. And two, they're, how do I put this? They are in the second book
Is it like,
more.
oh, sorry, was it not,
No,
what is it, Wrath of the Titans? No, the other one, the one before Wrath of the Titans, Clash of the
I didn't.
Titans, where there's like 0 Titans in it. They're just like, we're calling these Titans because they're godlike.
No, there's. It's okay. I didn't see it, so I can't help you. And there are Titans in the next book. There, you learn more about the gods and their relationship with the Titans in the next book.
Good.
It is probably not as extensive as you would like, because it really. I mean, it's a long story arc, and the Titans just came back, so it might be a. I mean, they are getting more involved, but
That's. I also say that'd be a perfect opportunity, considering, and I won't go spoiling again, but considering who the love interest is in the second one, you'd think that that'd be the perfect opportunity to introduce them more.
and you do, and because of who it is, you get more of a history, backstory, involvement situation going on, but it's but the focus is still the Lord. Right?
I said, is it as brief as Ashlyn's history?
No, there's more, and but
Okay, step in the right direction then.
but again, my knowledge of the history base is nowhere near as extensive as Ashley's. So
I would consider it history based. Just historical fact, the Titans were like this.
Isn't it? No? They weren't real?
It's a historical fact that Argus was not Cerberus as I think she intended when she's naming the different things that could be guarding it, and she's like, and there's this multi-eyed dog thing named Argus, and I'm like, no. You mean Cerberus that has all the different heads, dog-like. Argus is Odysseus's faithful dog who's like an old little shabby thing who lived just long enough to see his master come home and then curled up and died. Why are you making him some sort of horrific beast? Do not approve of this. He's the best dog ever.
Yeah, you could take creative license with a lot of things when you're doing your own fantasy novel, but it's hard when you've got it based
Not
in...
with Argus. You do not make Argus a hideous monster thing. I was going to name my dog Argus because he was the best dog ever. They had the Hydra. You can't screw up the Hydra. They're just like, let's pick some sort of Greek dog thing.
Oh, the Hydra.
Oh, that comes in the next book?
I'm saying nothing. I am not spoiling anything else.
Well, they spoiled Argus.
There's a Hydra and My Little Pony.
Okay.
Distract from the spoilers. Oh my gosh, I need coffee. Um, okay. I don't know. I should have taken notes.
Yeah, I didn't think again.
Yeah. Okay. Was there anything else?
I'm going
People.
through stickies.
Yeah. So basically what happened is I got here and I was super sick, so I just read the whole book in bed. So I didn't really take notes. So, and then I read all of the books.
Yeah, my first few stickies are about uh about the unsettling, especially considering even in Maddox's point of view. And Caitlin, I know you've addressed this before. Um, Mine! His mind shouted, mine! I found her! And then it goes through. He just wanted to kill. Yes, kill! Fury! Such fury! Exploded through him. And it's like, okay. So very, very violent, very, very possessive. Perfect boyfriend material.
Unfortunately, the possessive alpha male thing is also very common in romance novels. Not necessarily to this extent.
Which I get if you're just looking for like your passionate sex time, but when you're like, yes, I want to build my forever relationship with this
Nope. It is a
unhealthy
very,
relationship.
especially in books where it is a human non-human relationship. Demons, angels, aliens, whatever. There is a lot of the possessiveness, the mind thing. This was
Which I get to some levels, but when you add the violence and all that,
the violence. This was pretty. Like I've seen some pretty bad mind, but this went from that's cute, honey, to okay.
Well, reel it in a little bit.
I guess too, because he's supposed to be like, well, for lack of a better way of putting it, old. So I wonder if his way of looking at things is a wee bit outdated.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, when's the last time he had a relationship?
And I think I already mentioned it. I had so much issue with his constantly calling her woman. I want to be like, okay, we've established that she's female. Stop it.
His dialogue like regresses throughout, like when he's just him like talking to the other boys. Yeah, he makes full sentences, and after a while, it's like he just speaks in grunts.
And they're just like, there are a lot of moments where they speak in incomplete sentences, and that drove me crazy.
I hate the dialogue.
I was just waiting for one of his friends to be like, dude, this woman has like made you into an idiot. Like caveman idiot. He needs to like.
It was interesting how quickly he was like, "I'm gonna kill all my friends because they hurt her." I'm like, these are men who have been like your best friends for millennia.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna kill them because they put her in a cell for a night.
I mean, it does work out because they all kind of heal themselves and come back. So there's no like they don't like completely eliminate one another. They just leave quite a bit of damage.
Apparently, he needed a good beating, anyways. For some reason, he needed Aaron to beat the crap out of him.
No, the incomplete thing, though, that was one that I remember now, and it's funny because as I was reading it, it drove me bonkers. No. I don't like that today. I just don't like it.
Okay, it's just because I'm flipping through things and the pacing. Okay, so they've kidnapped her, accidentally poisoned her. She's been vomiting all day. Do you know how many naps she takes with him before she actually has this shower that he's been trying to get her to take? So she's covered in vomit. The room is covered in vomit. And he's still like, must have sex. Must have sex. You're so beautiful. But they just take a series of naps together. And then finally head into the shower. And a best moment ever, I had to grab my husband and make him read this. We're building, we're getting frisky, we're getting naked, we're ripping off clothes. Yes, this is going to happen. I feel your groin, and it's hot and it's burning. And let's take this brief intermission. Brush your teeth. Make sure you use mouthwash. All right, we're ready. I'm like, seriously?
And even she's like so insecure about it. She's like, "Is my breast that like I don't
Like, I get that you've just been vomiting, but I don't get why you're both like, wait. Because they've been kissing, or no, they haven't kissed. They don't kiss that whole time. But still, they've been, like, sleeping in this vomit room beside the vomit girl for hours. They spend hours in this room together. And they're about to do it. There's like, wait, right here, because she's on this kitchen, on the bathroom sink. Legs are spread. She still has her underwear on. They haven't taken that off. But they're, like, there, and they're thrusting, and it's getting all hot, and they're like, oh, that's just back to the sink. Ah. And that's not dirty. Ah. That's toothbrush. Ah. I broke her. But it's true. It's there. It's like, and now we have to stop to brush our teeth.
What's really funny is I remember that, and I remember being very confused.
And then after they brush the teeth and they get back into it, and then it's the, oh, wait, virgin, pause. So it's like we've been building. And we're actually quite a ways through the book because we've been spending like the first 200 pages being like, okay, they want each other, when's this going to happen? They keep talking about it, and they're very explicit about that. I want you all over me. I want to feel you inside me. I'm going to take you, and I'm going to take you hard. Yes, do it. So you're waiting and waiting for something to actually happen. They stop to brush their teeth, and you're like, okay. And then they're finished brushing their teeth, and they get back to it, and they're like, oh, no, virgin alert. And then it's just done. And you're like, oh, really? We spent 250 pages, like, trying to get to this moment. And it's just like, no. I mean, I need more than sex in my book, but still, if that's all you're going to be premising it on, is just how much passion and sex can we throw into it, and then, like, actually really never get to it. And then when they finally do have sex, there's not even a lot of it. It's kind of like, and then they do it. And they do it like 5 other times, and they love it.
But then he's going to get killed.
So that is my bathroom sex rant.
Okay. I'm sorry, I can't right now. It was the action and the noise and the specification.
That's just how it went down.
Oh.
Caitlin's punning everything I say and do. Hello, mysterious, blurry strangers. It's a good thing you didn't walk by like just 3 minutes ago.
They've been sitting next to me the whole time.
Yes, but not facing the screen as I'm making suggestive gestures.
Yeah, like, I make everything into a pun, so just, you gotta watch that stuff. Especially if it's dirty. Yeah, okay. Well.
This has been the most entertaining episode of Curious Endeavourances you've ever seen, isn't it, audience?
Oh gosh. Leave a comment. No, don't leave comments.
All right, I was still going through. What else did I find in here?
I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, yeah, the brushing the teeth thing. Did he have an extra, like, where does the extra toothbrush come from?
Oh, more bathroom sex.
Because there's a lot of bathroom sex. Like, it's just a lot of bathroom sex.
So they're finished brushing their. Oh, where's the toothbrush? I think this. Oh, where is it? Anyway, so after the toothbrushing, they're in the shower. La la la. And I get this is just romance novel, but still, I love dialogue. I don't love this dialogue. And again, what part of the things where I'm laughing where I don't think I'm supposed to be laughing? Right here. Do you like having someone clean you? He asked. Yes. Are you still dirty? Yes. Where? Everywhere. They're not having sex yet, but they did stop brushing their teeth to get in the shower because, again, she's been covered in vomit all day.
I have to say, I don't care how hot you are, in all senses of the term. If you've been vomiting all day, I want to shower alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Like, they took several naps together, covered in vomit before getting to the shower.
No,
He
the
keeps saying, I've
second
drawn a bath for you, and all this is ready to go. And
I feel
she's
like great.
passing out, and they're like, okay, I'm going to just snuggle.
No, I'm sorry. If there's a bath waiting for me and I've been that sick, like to the point where I pretty much almost died, no. Jesus. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my whole thing's frozen.
Mine did that earlier.
Yeah. Well, as long as you can hear me. So, yeah, at that point, I'm like, I want to go have a bath and I want to be alone. Don't come near me. I feel disgusting. Like, until I'm
Well,
clean.
I was really sweet with the, hello, you can barely stand. You're not going to make it to the shower on your own. I'm
Oh,
coming with
yeah.
you. But then it turned into, you're barely conscious. And nothing's easier than having sex in the shower. No, that stuff is tricky, man. If she's barely able to stand on her own 2 feet, she's going to die.
Yeah. No, just put me in the
Like, they
bathtub
better
that
have
you
a
drew.
pretty, fancy shower apparatus going on. Very spacious.
I do wonder with what they've been doing in there. It must be. I mean, they have a nice home. They've got tons of money. They must have a pretty good shower.
I am thrown off by, there are some things about modern life that they are totally aware of, and I get the modern medicine, and they're like, we will cure this, death with Tylenol. Like, she's like,
You need the
stabbed to
magic
death.
pills.
It's like, we will get you Tylenol. It will help everything. And I get they didn't need medicine, and that's fine, but it still sounds like they have basic cable because they talk about all the things that are advertised and all this. And again, when the vocabulary changes spontaneously, it's like you've been speaking in perfect sentences and now we're not in the middle of a sexual moment. So there's no reason to be caveman. You've just decided to revert back to grunting. And I don't understand.
I will say, I don't think most of them watch TV that often, and clearly they don't get up much. Oh, and all he reads are romance novels. That might influence a little bit. Just a little.
Yeah, the thing with the Tylenol, though, that was... Oh, that was...
Poor Danica in that moment. He's got to work. I'm sorry, I can't cure poison caused by ambrosia of the gods. Not in my repertoire, even if I were a nurse.
Which is another thing that makes me wonder, because the international sign for pharmaceuticals and medicine is a Greek symbol.
It is
there is a god of medicine, which is, so you think they could just be like, hey, that dude is associated with the healing of humans. Maybe I'll walk into that building.
Nope, poor Danica has to eat airlifted. Aaron, who then catches Paris in the middle of the street, and she's just like, okay. Because I wouldn't take this moment in time to run off and find the police.
Yeah, no, not at all. Although at least she did escape. That entertained me at the end. She escaped.
Yep. No, I like Danica. I want to read about Danica. Andres.
See, I didn't like the book, but it was entertaining. Oh.
Yep. Success. If you are entertained in any manner.
And I think the big hits against it aren't its romance factors for me. It's the bastardization of the mythology, because I'm like, oh, but I like this stuff, guys. What are you doing? What are you doing?
That is
Ah.
classic character development, which once again isn't necessarily related to the romance genre.
And I often wonder if it's just I'm not finding women well developed, or if I'm just like, I don't know, some sort of like jealous reader person where I'm like, no, that woman doesn't make for a good female lead, or I don't know, but I find this is a common theme in the books we read where I'm like, that woman is useless.
Okay, but let's think about that for a moment. How many women do you know? I mean, I think we could all say we know a fair share of women who might act similarly.
But surely they're not the best women to write books about.
Oh, I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying those women exist.
They and I mean, you could say that about anything, like any character flaw
Yeah.
you can come up with. There's
someone
they're
has
based
it.
on someone who's clearly presented these characteristics. But
Okay,
it's just it
so
feels like so common in
I,
so much of our, especially when we get like some really decent like the light between oceans, right? We're like
yeah,
Tom Sherborne, amazing dude, stuck with Isabel, who's useless.
yeah.
And
The
I
next
just
point
feel
I
like
was
this is
gonna
a
make.
common thing.
Yeah,
And I
I
don't
was
know
gonna
if
make a point, but it doesn't apply to the light between oceans. I was gonna be extremely controversial and say, now, what kind of women typically read these kinds of novels?
no, and I like,
Well, I
and I
mean,
do get genre-wise. There's that sense of that fantasy role play of I'm so vulnerable, I'm
right,
just going to be swept up in your arms, and I get that, but like so many of the books you read, I just find myself, and that's more of a
I
reflection on myself, wondering if
I don't know.
I'm just like a jealous reader being like, she's not good enough for him, or if there's seriously just a lack of women that I am like, yeah,
Or that I
woo.
expect more, like because I run into that problem too. And I'm like, seriously, that's
Okay,
I expect more from my characters.
no, and that's fair. You know what? Going back to the female lead in the next book, as much as she annoys me, and I kind of hate her, I respect her way more because she does stuff. She's not a passive character, which I
Yeah.
think is the problem with a lot of these female characters, is that they're extremely passive.
I love that one article, and I tweeted it. Not necessarily all the examples that they gave I was totally on board with, but there was like a step of all these things that you want to double check when you're writing female characters, and the one I took and retweeted was like, could your female character be replaced with a floor lamp with a helpful note attached to it?
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, I hope not.
But
I
when you
just go
think
back
about it,
to.
and so many of them, it is that way. Like,
Also, I know for people who read these kinds of novels, it's not necessarily that kind of women. I read them all the time, so I don't think that it's only those kinds of women.
no, but again, I do appreciate that when you're reading for escapism, right? Especially in a
Oh
romance
yeah.
genre, it's often so you can immerse yourself into that world, right? And to
Yeah.
take part of it, and there is some joy in that. And I mean, we call it romantic for a notion, that old courtly love. You know, damsel in distress has to be rescued by the white knight and swept off her feet, and I totally respect that. But there's also a point where you've got like the woman going after the Black Knight who's just murdering people and like is gonna imprison you and beat you to a pulp, and you're like, yes, hit me
Yeah.
harder. And it's like,
Nope.
no, now we've crossed a line, and this is no longer a sexual fantasy I would enjoy having. Just
So don't read
putting it
50
out
Shades of
there.
Grey.
Which I'm one of the few people my age who hasn't, and I'm just not curious enough.
That's fair. And you know what? I know people who really love it.
Well, clearly there's a lot of people who really love it. I worked at a
There are a
bookstore,
lot of
and we sold a lot.
people who really love it. So, I mean,
To each
there's
their
usually a
own.
reader. Yeah,
Yeah,
yep. There's
not
usually a reader
one.
for every book. Um, reserving comment. No. Well, I think that was my problem reading this too, is aside from Ashlyn being Ashlyn, so I couldn't relate to Ashlyn, but I also didn't want Maddox. And usually it's one or the other, so you can at least be in her shoes or be like, I can see the appeal. And I didn't have either.
When he went caveman, and I don't mean the brooding, I've got a demon inside of me that I'm wrestling with. I mean like the actual like grunt, 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 grunt. Like, you have not become an intellectual equal. Let's not. But again, I'm guilty of not being a Darcy girl. I'm a Mr. Tilney girl, and I've had many people want to slap me for making such statements because it's all about Mr. Darcy, and I'm like, I don't want someone who's pissy.
I'm just not going to say anything.
I like playful. Maddox was not playful.
No, and anyone who looks at your husband knows that's true.
Anyone who looks at how I interact with my husband knows that's true. People are probably wondering why I don't get slapped on a daily basis. Why is your wife in your face? She does that.
Because you're my cat. We've established that.
You're playing a video game? I want to crawl in your lap.
How do I play? I want to play. How do I play? How do I play? How do I play? I want to play. I want to play.
I'm going to push this button. Push this button. Can I push this button? You just blew me up. Can I push it again? No.
Cool, now you can pay attention to me.
Until you want to pay attention to me, and then I'm just going to go over here and do my own thing.
And that's how I got
I'm
it.
fun to be married to.
You know this from experience. Well, you have been with yourself a long time.
And it's true, I get more obnoxious the more comfortable and longer I'm with people. That's why when we were having the conversation earlier about me being so awkward in public situations, because I don't do small talk, so I like hide in a little corner, and people think I hate them, which I don't. I just don't know what to do with myself. So I just try to make myself as small as possible. And then you get to know me, and you just shut up.
Yeah, that's fine. I am a cat. I know that much about social interactions. Actually, I would do well with the demon lords because then I could hide up in the hill out of town and not have to go talk to people. That's just me. Alright.
They make money, they got a big house, and if anything Jane Austen has taught us is that you can get over a lot of character faults if the dude has a nice big house.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that any man with a lot of money wants to get shacked up.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently. I love Jane Austen though, so it's okay. I don't know what else. Were there any other comments? Last time I said that, we went on.
Could we relate Maddox to a twisted modern Darcy?
No.
No.
As someone who does love Darcy, no.
Agreed.
Don't push it, Ashley. Ashlyn.
Oh, I'm more well developed.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
I may not be tortured, but you know, you don't need torture in your life as often as the people in this book seem to see it's necessary.
Well, a lot of books. Credit where credit's due. There's a lot of tortured characters out there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially men. Love interest men. Anyway. I don't know. I don't know if there was other...
I went through my stickies.
Right.
We covered most of them in just general conversation.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. But I did. I started making comments, and then didn't save. Oops. Oh, I can't remember. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if there are other comments. What do we normally do first? Ratings or awards? I can't remember.
Awards and ratings are like the last thing before we
No, I
do.
know. Yeah, because I don't know if there was.
There's some awards. I just gotta pull them up.
I'm pretty well tapped out on the. I do recommend that if you found the premise interesting at all, read the second book. And then if you still don't like it, you can hate me and blame me forever. And
I don't like the book, but it was entertaining enough. It's not like I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever read. Why would I ever do this? I mean, it's one that I don't think I need to own the whole series, but I wouldn't mind reading it as a quick filler. It didn't take long to read.
No, and that's the thing. Yeah, and they're really not. Even though they look pretty big, they're not that long to read. So I mean, if you,
especially when they all speak in grunts. All right. So we'll start with a literary character award. Danica, who plays actually a really tiny part in this, but is notable nonetheless, for the Miss Feisty Pants Award.
Yep.
Because that's all I could think of, like, whoa, feisty pants.
Leave the snowman alone.
Yep. Because that's what I thought of immediately. I was like,
she is pretty feisty. And I think I love her more for it, because Ashlyn's just very accepting of the whole thing. She's like, I've just been captured and taken prisoner by a bunch of demonic creatures that murder each other. Okay.
Cool. Oh my gosh, you guys, so cool.
I'm trying to decide if this is an award.
Oh, but I got the plague simultaneously?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically I arrived in Stockholm and got the plague around the same time, and I was at the plague part of the book. I started coughing. I'm like, I don't know if this, I'm like, this isn't really an award, but I felt like this was extremely coincidental, and for a moment I was like, oh god, it passed through the book again. Because it seems to happen to me. Apparently I'm susceptible to getting diseases from books.
So we could put that in a member award, spreading the plague.
The Torin Award.
As I was tweeting, updating these things, because I go months without updating our awards pages at all, realizing that we have nothing for membership, because it's just been the three of us. So other people who are watching, and we do have other members other than the three of us, it doesn't look like it, but there are 13 of us officially, so that's another 10 people that you never see that are out there, some of which I think read the books with us. So if we hear from people, not necessarily on the video, but jot us something down in discussions, do your own award nomination, you could potentially win a member award for being an active member. And if you want to be on the video, of course, you just have to let us know, hey, I read this book and it was super awesome. Can I join the live discussion? And we'd probably be pretty open to it. Just saying. So if we want to give another member award for this, or I guess our first one of this year, I don't know, do you want to be known for spreading the plague? Or obtaining the plague?
I feel like I'm going to get the Typhoid Mary Award.
The what?
You sound like the Spreading the Plague Award. You make me sound like Typhoid Mary. I mean, what else? People remember her.
Susceptible to the plague? Oh.
Obtaining the plague. Yeah, I don't know. Touched by Torin.
Oh. I like that one.
I get the Touched by Torrin award. So anyone who gets a disease from the book has been touched by Torrin.
Or I think just as frequently as you do. I think every time I talk to you, you're like, another cold. I'm sick from this.
I really just never shake a cough. I always have a cough.
And I think, considering how often that comes up, even during meetings, I think we can give you a Touched by Torrin award. And then there we go, other potential members, if you are perpetually diseased, you could take the
And if
Touched by
anyone wants a
Torrin.
challenge, write the fanfic where I am Torrin's love interest. Except please don't.
Even as much as I want to say challenge accepted, I'm not going to get around to that.
I would write it, but it's about me, and that's weird. But not that I want anyone else writing about me, so I don't know. Maybe I have to do it.
Especially in this genre.
Yeah, maybe I have to write it to just
And
like.
then Caitlin laid seductively on the sofa. Oh, sorry, in the shower, because it has to all take place in the shower awkwardly. Because that's
okay,
the
it
best
does not
place to
all
have
have
sex
to
ever. Hi. Moving on.
I don't want to get the word anymore.
I love this award. This was nominated by Caitlin, best award ever. Literary award for Maddox, the Seagull Award.
Mine.
Yes! I burst out laughing and simultaneously cried the moment I saw that posted as an award. Yes! Could not be. I love clever names for awards, and that was just the best because it meant everything.
It's because I stumbled upon a picture of someone using that for something else. I was like,
Maddox?
Maddox? Like, I think I'm like, God, this sounds just like Maddox. And I was like, oh my god.
See, I think that would be one of Danica's reactions. If he had a love thing with Danica and he was like, mine. She'd be like, Maddox, you annoying you sound, Maddox.
Where are my chance? All the references. Apparently I just use references for my awards.
That's the best. I love it. So I give 5 hands for that vote. I'll qualify myself as 2.5 people to vote for that one.
So you're very well rounded.
Alright. And then I had to throw out the bathroom sex award just because everything I could possibly ever talk about this novel all takes place in that freaking bathroom scene. And I don't have a clever name for it. I mean, I did have a larger name for it, which you can read on the Goodreads page, but I just summarized it.
I read it, but I can't remember.
We interrupt this much anticipated primal, and then I'll just leave it ... so that all involved may brush their teeth thoroughly.
I'm trying to think of a name for this. It's just dead silence while I sit here thinking.
So I just said bathroom sex because it's like I had too many feels about what was going on before, during, and after the bathroom sex.
Bathroom sex. I feel like you need to.
Because there's never actual intercourse.
The most extensive sex scene where sex did not occur.
But that's not even the extent of my like.
No, I know, but it is
really we're brushing our teeth at this point.
You need like bullet points underneath for all the issues. Poor timing.
See pages this to this. Problems.
I wish there had been better sexy times.
Yeah.
There we go. Need better sexy time. Not so sexy times.
Not so sexy times. I mean, as long as they have fun, right?
So, am I keeping the bathroom sex? Am I doing the not so sexy times? What am I making official here, ladies?
I'm sorry, I just heard the wrong thing.
I don't know what I just said. What happened? I mean, I know what I said, but I don't get. Okay.
It's fine. My brain apparently. It is every time. My brain must just work like this all the time, and I don't notice. Um, sorry, it went dirty in my head. I heard things that were not what you said, and it took me a minute.
I was talking about sex in both occasions, so.
No, so I don't know what we want to make official.
I like the first one.
Just the bathroom sex. Okay. So I will update that right now so that we have it and I don't leave it forever and ever and ever.
I just realized I was making that face on video. I'm sorry. Did anyone see that? Should I be embarrassed right now?
I was on Goodreads updating things, so I saw nothing. That being said, it's live, so it's going to be recorded, so I can go back and check and see this.
I was looking this way. Can you see my? You can't see my face, right? It's fine.
I'm sorry.
Julianne?
I didn't see it, but
okay, good. No one saw my coffee face. It's great. I'm fine. It's cool.
My screen has been freezy though, so you might want to check when you go do the editing.
Okay, which way were you looking?
I'm good, right?
Possibly. You can see like little.
Okay, I mean, sorry, I just won't be embarrassed.
Just own it. Flaunt it. Flaunt it.
My coffee face. Actually, it's not my coffee face. It's will you bring me coffee because I'm so adorable and you love me so very much face. I mean, if it gets viewers to bring me coffee, who am I to complain? Was that all the awards?
That's all that I have unless anyone has anything else they want to add. I'm just going to update it in the big category now.
I don't think so.
Julianne, did you have any?
I didn't. I feel negligent, but I didn't.
Julianne, not for it now because we're not quite there. Do you have a paper copy of the next book?
Yes.
Okay, then I don't need to get it. I'm going to find it. It's like trying to get all prepared. I mean, technically, yeah.
I've got it.
Okay. Yeah, we're not. So then it was ratings. So I gave it a 3 because.
Middle of the road kind of book.
Yeah. And a lot of it was, I kind of know this, but I feel like this happens a lot with series anyways. It was kind of I understood things. There was less questions. I think I might have had more questions or more frustrations if I hadn't known what was coming and therefore had it already explained to me, so I don't know. So yeah, 3.
I gave it a 2 because it had its good moments. See, the coffee face delivered.
The coffee face delivers.
And I gave it a 2. That might possibly lean towards a 2.5, but I feel like the 2 is pretty accurate as it was. Because I did struggle, and this lack of development kind of drove me crazy. But it had its funny moments, and as Ashley has commented, some of those were not the moments probably that were supposed to be funny. But
it happens with romance too. There's a lot of cheesy moments where you just go, Oh God, this is oh all the cheese.
Yeah.
The cheese isn't always bad.
I struggled between 2 and 3. I finally settled on 2 just because I was thinking about some of the other things that I had been giving 3s, and my reason behind giving things 3s. So again, I found it entertaining. So it's a higher 2, but it's, I don't know. It wasn't enough for me to be like, I like this, because the more I talk about it, the more I can pinpoint how many things I don't like, and I'm remembering Heaven is Small, which is one that I also gave 3,
Mm.
and comparing the two, I did enjoy Heaven is Small so much. It may not have been like laugh out loud hilarious with it all the time, but just my feelings after having gone through and read it, this one did feel more like a 2, and that one a 3.
I think that was also why I gave it a 3, was thinking about it in comparison to books that I have given 2s versus 3s versus 4s.
Mm-hmm.
And also compared to what I rated the first book, and I can't remember. I think I gave the first one a 4. I can't remember. I think it was like around the 4.5 was what I thought of it when I read it. Or the second one, which was the first one I read. So for me, it was like compared to that, which is, I find rating so difficult now, having rated so many books, because I'll rate it like, when I look at what it says a 2 is or 3 is on Goodreads versus what I feel a 2 or 3 is, I have enough problems, and then when I compare it to other books I've given the same rating, I'm like, oh, I enjoyed it way more than that, or not as much as that, or 10-point rating system.
Even then, I don't think that would really solve the problems, because
there's something flawed with the rating system, sort of, because you have to really pinpoint exactly where it is.
Because it's different things, right? It's not necessarily as an overall book, this is what it is. It's like, well, this moment was executed well for its genre, or this character wasn't developed, or right? Because there's so many little fluctuations in it.
I think that's why there's such a discrepancy if I look at what I've rated. You know, if I look at everything I've rated a 4 or whatever, I'm like, oh, well, compared to this, it's a 3, or compared to this, it's a 5. But for what it is, in its genre / what else I'd read around the time to compare it to, because I'm more likely to compare it to what I've read recently than 6 months or a year ago. Ratings. I feel like if there was a 10-point, or if you could do a half-star system, it would be a little bit more accurate, because there's a lot of times where like, it's a 3.5, but is it like more like a 3.25 or 3.75, or is it actually a 3.5? Like, it's, where do I round up or down? I don't know. Anyway, so that's awards and ratings. And final thoughts?
I think so.
Okay, so then Julianne has our next book, which is her pick.
The next pick is by Catherine Engelman Sundberg. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. So, Caitlin, you'll have to tell us how to pronounce her name.
Okay, let me look. Katharina Engelman Sundberg.
Okay. Yeah, I butchered that. Sorry.
I didn't go by the Swedish version.
And this is The Little Old Lady Who Broke All the Rules. So,
a novel.
Yes, a novel. Ashley, do you happen to have the back handy? I know how much you love reading the backs of books.
Mine's on order. It's supposed to be here July 10th, so I don't have it yet.
Hold on. Okay.
I can read it if you don't want to.
I was going to say I can, but I won't do it justice, I'm sure.
I can probably find the blurb on Goodreads, I'm sure.
That's what I have open here. I'm just going to send you the link, Ashley.
Oh, I'm already on Goodreads, so I can just click it.
There you go.
All the description.
Now in English for the first time.
I'm just trying to get past like the review stuff and then the... Okay, I think that's the end of that. Okay.
Do you want me to...
New owners have taken over the Diamond, making cost-cutting changes that have transformed a happy home into a dull and dreary place. The residents wonder if they wouldn't be better off in prison. Martha gets an idea. They shall commit a crime that will ensure conviction, some type of financial crime, a small coup of some sort. They will give whatever they got to the poor and the elderly. If Robin Hood could do it, so can they. What starts as a robbery attempt at a nearby luxury hotel escalates to art theft from a major museum. The culprits armed only with bolt cutters and high-tech walkers. The mafia gets wind of these robberies, and suddenly the underworld has its eye on both the stolen paintings and the handiwork of the genius. Soon, the Senior League has both the law and the lawless at their heels.
So just a little comment. I don't know if this is true. I'm not going to say it's true, but I have heard that prison in Sweden is extravagantly amazing, especially at least compared to what we know.
I just read Catch Me If You Can, and it describes, okay, in the 60s, his treatment in Sweden. Basically, he stays at like this hotel facility for a bit, and then when he's moved to the actual prison, now it's based on what your crime is. If you murder someone, it's different, but because his was financial fraud and about money, mishaps with money and duping people financially, he was put in like it's like college dorms.
Yeah,
only
they're like
the college dorms were less cement-like, so he got like, it started with a holding that was like pretty much a hotel room, and then it moved to like a college dorm thing where they had like their common areas, their common bathroom, but initially it was private for him. They order out from restaurants so that they don't have to do any cooking and have any kitchen facilities, so they get menu selections, and then he had a choice as to whether or not he wanted to continue his education. They would enroll him in college while he was there, or they allowed him to have employment. He could work at like a parachute manufacturing company, so he could earn the same wages that someone in the typical job line would, and they would hold that on the side so he'd have funds for when he got out, or he could choose to do neither of those options and just sit and wait out his time. So it was pretty swanky, and that was the 60s.
Well, and I've heard similar swankiness things. So
now I don't know what they do for serial killers. I don't think they get the same. No, but it was basically more about the rehabilitation and making sure they had something better to go off on when they finally came out, so their lives would be improved.
But but that's just for people to have that understanding while reading this book about why these women might think that prison is better than a care home. Mm-hmm. So you don't think in the care home is like, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to assume it will be described. I obviously haven't read it yet, but
heck, there's arguments already like in the States about why prison would be better than a lot of the the facilities that are meant for the public.
Yeah. But they're different facilities in the States than they are in Sweden.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just putting that out there. I don't know how it'll be described, so in case it's not. So that's the pick for July, and probably doing it on the last Saturday of July.
Yes, unless you guys go off for honeymoon, right?
We're probably not going until the beginning of August. But I don't know for sure. But for now, we are going to say the last Saturday of July, because that's when we normally meet.
July 26th?
Sure, whatever that is.
It's a Saturday, the last Saturday.
And then it is July 26th. As long as Ashley knows. Ashley's always the one who tells me. I'm like, sure, event.
I just happen to have all the right windows open right now, so click, click, click.
Well, I normally have like a calendar and stuff on the wall. But
I didn't make an event for it, but this is loaded onto the Goodreads page. So.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, it's already up there with the dates for the readings and the. So yeah, go check out the Goodreads site. All the links are going to get posted on the YouTubes, and
the links haven't been posted on YouTube for like ever.
I've been posting them.
Because every time I go back to check the videos, there's nothing in.
Well, when do you go back? Because I've been posting them and they should be there. It says they're there in my thing.
Because even when I redid one today, going back to the other one, there is. I'm going to double check now.
Okay, so maybe they aren't there, but they should be there.
Down, it'll give you more links and such. Might be hiding in there.
What's a fairly recent one? How do you unravel? I'll check that one.
They should be there. If they're not, I'll look into it. But you can find us on Goodreads by searching Curious Endeavourances in the groups
that one
as well.
has it. Maybe it was just the one video I checked that didn't have it.
Maybe.
Okay,
There was one I didn't get to adding for a really long time, so if it was that one, that might be why. Where I was like, hey, I didn't do this.
I just remember checking once and, okay, never mind. They seem to be updated. Maybe I was just going through when there was a lull. Because, I mean, I don't update my stuff. And I did a 4-book sprint for awards today, so. Okay, never mind. Ignore that. It's up. It's up.
So their links will be posted below.
False alarm.
Are you questioning my measurements?
I questioned everything. Like that time. Did I tell you about the SFS? And I was like, why isn't the secretary doing this? This should be the secretary's duties. Why aren't you doing your job? They're like, I'm not the secretary. I'm like, oh, right, I am.
Yeah, what's the secretary been doing? We don't really have a secretary. Okay, so there will be links. Go check the
check the links.
Yeah, there'll be the Goodreads group where you can go check out our books and join, and our blog where there are reviews.
Yes.
From some of us. No.
I'm just going to start posting my Goodreads things back on there. I'm not rewriting them at this point. Just
I'm sure you
paste.
get really smarmy nowadays. It is nighttime here, and I haven't had dinner, so whatevs. I'm really sorry. I'm always like this, though, aren't I? I really shouldn't. I don't have an excuse anymore. I was like, oh, I'm really tired. I'm really tired. I'm like this every freaking time. Okay, so check it out. Read The Little Old Lady Who Broke All the Rules by Katerina Engelman Sundberg. Did I get that right? I did that all from memory.
It's I don't know if you can see it, but I'm holding it up.
Yeah, okay. So read that she's holding there. It also has a purple cover that just has the text on it. I don't know if they have that back home there. That might be the Swedish one. And we will see you in July. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye, everyone.